In a world where myths and legends were real, Luke was a soldier fighting in a war that seemed to have no end. He had been fighting for years and had seen things that number 11-year-olds should see. But he had a job to do, and he was determined to do it. Luke's unit was tasked with taking down a group of rebels who had been causing havoc in the nearby villages. They had been tracking the rebels for days when they stumbled upon a clearing in the forest. In the middle of the clearing was an elephant, unlike any Luke had ever seen before. The elephant was massive, with thick gray skin and tusks that seemed to go on forever. But what caught Luke's attention was the way the elephant looked at him. It was as if the elephant knew something that Luke didn't. Luke's unit was about to move on when the elephant suddenly charged towards them. Luke was terrified, but he stood his ground. As the elephant got closer, Luke realized that it wasn't attacking them. It was trying to protect them. Luke's unit was confused, but they followed the elephant as it led them deeper into the forest. They soon found themselves in the middle of a rebel camp. The rebels were caught off guard, and Luke's unit was able to take them down with ease. As they were leaving the camp, the elephant appeared again. Luke knew that there was something special about this elephant, and he decided to keep it with them. He named the elephant Asher, and they became fast friends. Asher proved to be an invaluable asset to Luke's unit. He was able to carry heavy equipment and supplies, and he could navigate through the forest with ease. But as the war dragged on, Luke began to realize that he might have to make a difficult sacrifice for the greater good of his unit. Luke knew that they were running low on supplies, and they needed to get to the nearest town to resupply. But the town was heavily guarded by the enemy, and they would never make it there without being seen. Luke decided that he would have to leave Asher behind. It was a difficult decision, but he knew that Asher would be safer in the forest. Asher didn't understand why Luke was leaving him, and Luke felt guilty for abandoning his friend. As they made their way to the town, Luke's unit was ambushed by the enemy. They were outnumbered and outgunned, and it seemed like there was no way out. But then Asher appeared, charging towards the enemy and taking them by surprise. Asher's bravery gave Luke's unit the opening they needed to fight back. They were able to take down the enemy and make it to the town safely. Luke knew that Asher's sacrifice had saved their lives, and he was grateful for his friend's bravery. Luke and his unit were able to resupply in the town and make it back to their base safely. They were hailed as heroes, and Luke was given a medal for his bravery. But he knew that it was Asher who deserved the medal. Luke went back to the forest to look for Asher, but he was nowhere to be found. Luke hoped that Asher had found a new home, but he couldn't help feeling guilty for leaving his friend behind. Years went by, and the war finally came to an end. Luke returned home, but he couldn't forget about Asher. He decided to go back to the forest one last time, to say goodbye to his friend. As Luke walked through the forest, he heard a familiar sound. It was Asher, calling out to him. Luke followed the sound and found Asher, alive and well. Luke was overjoyed to see his friend again, and he realized that Asher had never left his side. Asher had been watching over him all these years, and Luke knew that he would always have a special place in his heart for his brave and loyal friend. In the end, Luke realized that the war had taken a lot from him, but it had also given him something special. He had found a friend in Asher, and he knew that their bond would last a lifetime.